Ghana is a beautiful country with rich culture, history, and welcoming people. So no wonder there's been a huge rise in travel to Ghana over the last few years. But how much does it actually cost to visit this amazing destination? In today's video, I will be breaking down all the costs associated with visiting Ghana so you can have an estimate of how much your trip would cost. And by the way, if you're new here, welcome to my channel, where I share everything about my life as a medical student and doctor in Europe. So please subscribe and like this video. Thank you. So let's start off with what a trip to Ghana looks like. I usually start off with flights, but since most people don't fly to Ghana from abroad, I'm going to skip that part and go straight into accommodation. For accommodation, prices depend on the type of place you want to stay. If you're on a budget, you can get hostels for $20 per night. Guest houses are around $40 per night. Mid-range hotels are $60 to $80 per night, while luxury hotels are above $100 per night. And you can get Airbnbs starting at $30 per night. But prices depend on where you're staying. Places in Accra are generally more expensive than places outside of Accra. The next expense to consider is food. So when it comes to food, Ghana has a lot to offer, from street food to restaurant food. And of course, the price depends on the type of food you want to eat and where you want to eat it. Street food, which are called chop bars in Ghana, range from $2 to $5 per meal. So you can get fried rice, banku kenki waki noodles, grilled chicken or fish yam chips, plantain chips, fried plantains, boiled plantains, corn, sweet corn coconuts, sugarcane juice, fresh fruit juices and smoothies, ice cream and many more delicious foods. And you can also get these foods from restaurants too. The only difference between restaurant food and chop bar food is the environment in which you eat. Chop bar food is meant to be eaten at the chop bar, meaning you eat while standing. You either take it away or stand at the counter and eat it, while restaurant food is meant to be eaten in the restaurant. Hence the sit-down service. I have a whole video on chop bars in Ghana, so make sure to check that out after watching this one. Prices in restaurants range from $5 to $10 per meal. Fast food restaurants like KFC, Pizza Hut, etc. range from $7 to $15 per meal. Cafes and smoothie bars range from $2 to $5 per drink. And if you're having coffee, then expect to pay around $3 for a cup. Local restaurants are more affordable than international chains, and local eateries also have their own unique delicacies that are worth trying. Also, if you're staying in an Airbnb with a kitchen, you can make some meals yourself. But do consider visiting the local markets to buy fresh produce, because they are very affordable, and the produce are just so fresh and delicious. Local markets also sell cooked foods like fufu, ampesi, kelawele, boiled yam, cocoyam, cassava, plantains, etc. These foods are sold at very cheap prices. I remember getting fufu and ampesi for 2 cedis, 50 pesewas, which is equivalent to $120. Local dishes taste better than the ones you find in restaurants, and they are also more filling. Another thing to consider are experiences and activities. So depending on what you want to do, prices vary. Entrance fees for tourist sites range from $3 to $15. For example, Cape Coast Castle costs $15, Kaikom National Park costs $60, WLE Waterfalls costs $10. But there are many other tourist sites in Ghana, so make sure to check out my travel guide videos on places I've visited to know how much entrance fees are. There are also museums in Ghana, and entrance fees are usually around $10. Boat rides are also popular in Cape Coast, Elmina, Ada, Boatman, and many other places in Ghana. Prices for boat rides depend on where you're going and the kind of boat you're taking. Going on a speedboat from Osu to Bukom and back cost me 120 cedis, which is equivalent to $20. But a normal wooden fishing boat would be way cheaper. Then there are activities like ziplining, exploring caves, going on safaris, visiting local communities, etc. And prices depend on what you're doing and where you're going. So for example, a day trip to Abury Botanical Gardens and a walk in the woods would be cheaper than a 3-day camping safari in Mole National Park. Also, if you want to go shopping, then budget around $50 for big-name brand clothes and shoes, and around $20 for local crafts and souvenirs. Also, if you want to go clubbing or party, then expect to spend around $20 to $50, including transportation, entrance and drinks. Transportation prices also depend on where you're going. Taxis are available everywhere in Ghana, and prices depend on your destination. So you can use the taxi for long distances or short distances. For short distances, you can negotiate prices with the driver or use the meter if the car has one. But for long distances, it's best to negotiate before entering the car because most taxis don't have meters. A ride from the Kotoka International Airport to Medina should cost around 25 cedis, which is equivalent to $4, but try not to pay more than 30 cedis. A ride from Medina to the airport should cost around 15 cedis. This is the normal rate. But during peak hours, like 4 a.m., when people are coming in from the airport, prices tend to be higher. Taxis are available 24/7, so you can call one anytime to go anywhere. But Uber and Bolt are also available in Ghana. I haven't used a Bolt in Ghana though. Uber prices are similar to taxi prices, but sometimes Uber can be more expensive than taxis, especially when you're traveling at night. So it's always good to check both Uber and taxi prices before traveling. Long-distance travels are also possible through VIP buses, STC buses, OA, Travel and Tours, and many others. These buses are comfortable and air-conditioned, and prices depend on where you're traveling to. I traveled from Accra to Kumasi in VIP, and the ticket was 150 cedis, which is equivalent to $25. But prices can range from $10 to $25 for long-distance bus travels. And finally, visas. So if you need a visa to enter Ghana, you should budget around $75 for the visa fee. But if you're coming from a country that doesn't require a visa to enter Ghana, then you won't have to pay for a visa. Ghanaians are very friendly people, so if you ever need help asking for directions or anything, feel free to approach any Ghanaian, and they'll be glad to help. It's also safe to travel to Ghana as a solo traveler. Traveling to Ghana alone is fine. Just take the normal precautions, like you would take anywhere else in the world. Okay, so now let's put everything together and see how much your trip would cost if you were to spend a week in Ghana. So for accommodation, let's say you choose to stay in a mid-range hotel for the whole week. That would be $60 to $80 times 7 days, which is $420 to $560. Let's say you're not eating at restaurants or fast food joints. You're only eating at chop bars and local eateries, and you're making some of your meals yourself. So let's say you spend $10 per day on food. That would be $70 for the whole week. Experiences and activities. Let's say you're going to 2 tourist sites and spending $10 on average per site. That would be $20 for the week. And let's say you go shopping twice during your week-long stay and you spend $25 per shopping trip. That would be $50 for the week. And let's also say you go clubbing once during your stay and you spend $30. Transportation. Let's say you use a mixture of taxis and Uber and spend $10 every day on transportation. That would be $70 for the week. And let's also say you spend $5 every day on local transportation, like Tiarotros. That would be $35 for the week. So the grand total for the week would be $420 to $560. Why? $70 plus, $20 plus, $50 plus, $70 plus, $35, down $645 to $745. So you can see that you can have a great time in Ghana for less than $750. This is excluding flight tickets. And you can adjust the budget depending on your preferences. You can spend more or less depending on your choices of accommodation, food, experiences, and activities. So that's it for today's video. Please let me know your thoughts and questions in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.